Okay, well, I'm having a talk that someone has accused might possibly become a comedy routine. No, not so. This is a very serious engagement that we are having. I'm having a wonderful chat with duo pianists Yuchi Tai and Timothy Ehlen. How'd I do on pronunciation? Okay so far? Um, we're Yeah?
Perfect.
Okay, good. We're talking about their 2016 Azika, I think that's how it's pronounced, records CD, Virtuosic Dance. By the way, this is the duo's first recording from 2016, and I hope there will be more, as I told you off camera. Perfection of collaborative playing, I think, is one way of putting it. In other words, precisely clean, clear playing from the two of you of this CD of wonderful dual piano works. I'll mention them in just a minute. But more importantly, this idea of matching two pianistic personalities. To me, as a conductor, I'm thinking that's got to be tough to get that kind of beautiful blend between four hands, if you will, two different temperaments on that particular instrument, on the piano. That's a tough one to get two pianos to just sound as one. And that is exactly what this CD accomplishes. Let me just run down the credits very quickly, and then we'll get started. Timothy Ehlen is chair of the piano division and professor of piano at the School of Music, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. It sounds like such a sweet town. Something about Urbana-Champaign, it sounds great, except for the winters, of course.
Right.
And of course, you teach you have hosts of students. You've taught all kinds of students, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. Workshops, the whole thing. A raft of CDs, as I recall, eight, nine, something like that. Anyway, busy, busy, busy. Yuchi Tai, Taiwanese, is get this one, everybody. This really blew my brains out about women and power. Hello, that's my compliment to you. First pianist to earn both artist diploma and DMA degrees in piano performance since 1867 at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. How is that still? Do you still hold that record?
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
I think so,
that's
yes.
that is
Although we have some who are very close.
okay. Well, we'll
Some,
we'll have to put them down between now and then to make sure that she keeps that title. But I find that just really so fascinating and such a triumph of the will, really. And also again, now let me mention the repertoire. Then I'll let you guys talk. Okay. Rachmaninoff Suite Number Two for two pianos. 1901. So was that the earliest version? 1901. Was there a revision of any kind later? Did he revise it, or is that just its year of composition? Any idea? Speak.
uh, I'm not aware of a different version of
Okay.
this piece.
Thank you. We're having a rough time because I'm convinced I've never heard this suite before, and I'm now told earlier off camera that it's probably the best known of the Rachmaninoff suites. But it's Rachmaninoff personified. If people out there, colleagues, love Rachmaninoff, this suite is Rachmaninoff personified. Just absolutely gorgeous music making. Ravel La Valse, the two piano arrangement by the composer. He, as we know, I guess it began as a one piano piece. I can't imagine. And then he fooled with it and made it two pianos, and then decided, oh, what the hell? I'm just gonna let's orchestrate the thing, and that's what's become. But it's so wonderful to hear La Valse. It's not the first time in this kind of the early versions, but it's so nice to hear everything so cleanly and clearly in the two piano version, knowing as we do the orchestral version. Manuel Infante. Now, I've been looking at this guy, Danse Andalouse, 1921, Spanish composer. I've been looking at this guy kind of out of the corner of my eye. I knew the name, I recognized the composer, but I have never heard this duo piano piece. And oh, you'll forgive the colloquialism, but it really rocks. I mean, I hate to sound so corny, but it is just so full of energy and so full of Hispanicness. Just such an entertaining, wonderful piece. And then Ludoslavsky. I was dumbfounded to hear these Paganini variations of Ludoslavsky. I think of Ludoslavsky as the big symphonist, the big concerto composer, the very contemporary composer in terms of that kind of repertoire, the big orchestral repertoire. So to hear this wonderful, the famous Paganini piece, variations for two pianos, it was revelation number one, but also to hear it played so well, So once again, congratulate. Just the precise cohesion of you four. You four, what I mean is your four hands. So it's amazing. And then, of course, to end the CD, Darius Milhaud's Scaramouche, that even I have heard a couple of times for two pianos. It's like one of the great masterpieces for duo piano. Okay, so now we've gotten a little bit of the idea. Timothy is teaching at Champaign-Urbana, and if I understand the story correctly, this woman arrives to complete her DMA. So jump in, and what I want to know is how did you meet? Let's start with you, Chi. How did you meet Timothy?
I was studying DMA and artist diploma at the University of Illinois, and after I graduated, we started to do this duo. So I'm lucky, like I have this wonderful partner to do this duo together. So I really enjoy rehearsing and performing with the team. So that is how we started after I graduated, and we started to do the duo. And luckily, after we done for 1 year, like we have a tour in Illinois, and we have a tour in Texas, because I was assistant professor of piano at the University of Texas for like 4 years. So it's very good. Like Timothy, he was willing to travel around. So we also have some performance in Texas, and also after I'm relocated in California, and Timothy also traveled to California. Basically, that is his hometown. So we had a couple of the concert in California as well. So yeah, we really enjoy playing each other and playing on the duo. It's very, very good experience.
Very clear. Timothy, so you're a Californian? What?
Well, I attended high school in Marin County.
That counts.
So
that's big. Yeah. That forms personalities for life. So how can you possibly state it in Urbana, Champaign?
Yeah, and
no offense,
my family was based in San Rafael for many years afterwards. After I left, they're still there.
Yeah.
So I have a sister and brother now in San Rafael.
Yeah. So the family is thick in California. Lots of good excuse to get out here and do stuff.
Exactly.
Let's see. Let me move down my notes a little bit. So basically, and this was circa about. Did we discuss it about 2012 or something when the duo first kind of came together?
Right, and maybe I could just jump in and also start by talking a little bit about the beginnings of our duo, because I feel very fortunate that I found Yuchi, and let me just say a little bit about how that happened, because Yuchi is a brilliant, sparkling pianist, and exudes this positive energy in performance, and this is not only appealing for audiences, but for me, and a lot of this two-piano repertoire is very sparkling repertoire, very some of it's virtuosic, but it's a lot of fun to play this music. And what I do as a soloist tends to be on the more serious side. A lot of Beethoven, a lot of Brahms, for example.
Like the complete Beethoven sonatas, yes? Didn't you record all of the Beethoven sonatas?
For example, yeah. I mean, this is, or not that it's all very serious and dour. I mean, Beethoven has a wide spectrum as much as anyone. But it's such a pleasure and a joy to play this two-piano repertoire. And I think that what makes it work for us is that we have a great time doing it. I mean, that's the thing. But to go to your question, I just want to fill in a few things. I was teaching Yuchi and she had a duo partner at the time to take lessons on this Rachmaninoff suite. And what I did, I heard Yuchi play this piece, and it was so good that I decided to steal her, and I asked her if she would want to play and tour and see where things went, and work with me. So I kind of
Wow,
I
that is
stole her. I have to
you
admit.
did steal her apparently, and that is were you chair at the time? So shame on you for all your power. Uh, but I think you may have noticed, and we touched on it, and I'd like you to talk, both of you maybe, to talk about it a little bit. It is not easy to match two pianists so that the end result is a smooth, even, clean, well-balanced, gorgeous sound as one. It's a corny thing, but when four hands sound as one pair of hands, that's a small miracle. And that's what I hear on this CD. It's just a beautiful homogeneity, I hope that's the right word, of the sound between you two. How was that? Has that been natural? Did you have knockdown, drag out fights to come to some kind of congealed sound? What was that whole thing about? Or did you go, wow, we're twins? It's perfect. Go. Yeah. Yuchi, why don't you start
Fight
this part?
all the time. No, just kidding. As the team just said, he's so good at the German repertoire, like Beethoven and Brahms. So he has this natural sound with this fuller and warm harmony. And for me, the repertoire I like is more like bright and sparkling. So you can see like the sound as we play is very different. So when we needed to put our sound and the music together, it's kind of for me, this is a good experience. Why I say that? Because I that is the part I don't have. Like I don't have this, like, compared to men, they have like powerful and then this warm sound. So when we rehearsing and then kind of discussing about that, I kind of can steal his sound and then try to match that together. So I feel like when I play with him, my sound quality or like sound color have more varieties. So when we are discussing about the piece, for example, like Rachmaninoff, we do have some different ideas, but we talk a lot about his idea and we try on the rehearsing, like how about the sound and what kind of a sound do you like. So we kind of rehearsing and then try to find the best balance. So again, I would say like I'm fortunate to have this dual partner, and then actually when we rehearsing, as kind of always had a good time. Although sometimes we don't have the same idea, and then we fight, but everything so far is good.
Well, what you have done, and as you know, a good many of my audience are professionals anyway, colleagues, college music professors, so most of us understand what you just said, but what you have also just described is that trick, the trick of collegial playing, the trick of finding the compromise, if that isn't a bad word, it's a good word really, and working through your differences. And I couldn't help but ask the question because Timothy is, as you said, a rather powerful person. Okay, your turn, Timothy. Defend what we've spoken to so far.
Well, here's what I do. From my perspective, there are things that we don't agree on, but for the most part, the sound in our fingers is not drastically different. I mean, we have maybe a different way of thinking or different personalities for sure. But here's what I do. If I don't agree with something, we try it both ways, and eventually I just go with Yuchi's way, because yeah,
really.
that keeps things.
Really?
I had no idea this interview could be.
100% of the time, but.
I had no idea that this interview could be so revealing. But what fun for all of the people watching who are collaborative artists. I mean, this is how this. And for those who don't understand, it's complicated. Two different human beings coming together, finding agreement about a work of art by a composer, and then seeing if they can even get it right in terms of what that composer's intention is. You know, that's the mystery, the magic. That's what keeps us alive longer. I think, really, the intellectual challenge, the technical challenge, all the rest of it. Did I interrupt you at all? Or were you going to
It's
finish
okay. I mean, I was just in the middle of
He's being awfully easy
from my own perspective. But I think, you know, what makes this method that I have just described, what makes it work, is a natural musical instincts of Yuchi, and I've grown to trust those the more we work together. So again, you know, my predilection is more toward you know, the serious, thoughtful kind of repertoire, and that's also the thing that I might overemphasize a bit too much, the intellect, in other words. So Yuchi's playing, I think, is very natural. It has a natural emotional quality. It has a natural pizzazz, or whatever you want to call it. It has the phrase goes to the right place. Even whether she thinks about it so much as I tend to think about my playing, I don't know. But it doesn't seem that way to me.
By the way, about partnering, I think I just heard something about. I remember some kind, not a Rorschach test, but some kind, one of those psycho tests, where it's about personalities, and how you two you've just described very eloquently the difference in your personalities, but how that melds so beautifully. Again, I'm thinking of the Rachmaninoff. Rachmaninoff is always serious. You know what I mean? There's a sub-current in this man's life and music that is you know, heartbreaking in many ways. So imagine your intellectualism, Timothy, understanding those subtexts of Rachmaninoff, and then Yushi's more cheerful attitude. That's not quite the right word, but you know what I mean. In combination, that's why maybe I could hear so subtly a very amusing suite, the Rachmaninoff suite, and yet, as you know, there are those moments that just dip for a second into whatever that subtext of his life was. I keep thinking of the Isle of the Dead, but you know, very serious human being. So now let me ask you.
Yeah, that tension between the two qualities is maybe what makes it work. It provides a more multifaceted type of sound or interpretive approach.
Now let's talk about ensemble. And I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek here, but as you know, in most cases, you two are staring across two keyboards at each other. You know, right? Well, for the most part, you're looking at each other across the keyboard. You cannot see anything going on each other's hands, right? Below the elbows, you can't see any of that. So my point is that in order to make those communications work, because this is a free-flowing album. I mean, it's so free. All the rubati, all the tempo changes, all of that good stuff, all the feistiness, and then the meditation moments. I mean, it requires so much connectivity between the two of you. How do you do it outside of winks and nods and blinks and gestures and eyebrows rising? Give us part of that secret. It's just a generic question about the secrets of ensemble play. Who wants to go for it? Yuchi, you look like you're dying to step into this one.
You know, as you say about like eyebrow thing or like the facial expression, you know, when we play piano duo, if we make some like facial expression, that's gonna make me laugh when I play. So, you know, as you say, when we sit and across the piano, we won't be able to see our hands. So, you know, like the first thing I do is I trust my partner and I use my ear, and then usually it works. So it works perfectly. We don't need you know, to do this. Hey, like like okay, finish something like that. So I feel like we trust each other. So whenever I wanted to do it, and Tim will respond, or whenever he wanted to do, or like want to slow down a little bit or take time of this note to enjoy a little bit more, and I can understand by the sound. So I would say that because we trust each other and we respect each other's ideas, so when we put things together, it's usually like match very well. Yeah.
Intuitive
it's
playing.
True. It's like a conversation almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're talking with someone back and forth, as long as you listen to what the other person is saying, then the conversation continues very naturally. And I think that that's what makes it work. That's a great way to describe it, is the trust
Well,
that's cultivated.
it is. I'm not exaggerating here, really. Of course, I've heard piano duos. I've heard live piano duos. I've heard recordings and so on. But and by the way, let's talk about the title, Virtuosic Dance. Well, it is indeed. You two dance indeed together. I mean, the CD is just a delight. But that kind of empathy between the two of you is very, very special, I think. And to say nothing, as I keep going on and on about this homogeneity, if that's the right word, of your two sounds, which is a good thing. It is one instrument, which is astonishing. And just the virtuosity of the two of you seem beautifully matched in terms of technical capabilities, and all the rest of it is just fabulous. Go, Timothy, were you going to say something?
Well, I have to work to keep up with Yuchi, but I hope it gives the impression that I'm able to.
It does. I was busy looking at my notes, and there was that long pause. I didn't mean to give you a long pause, like maybe.
No, Yuchi loves to play fast. That's I'm low on battery, but I think I'm still okay.
You're still okay for now. Oh, so, great. Now we find out.
Even though she likes to play fast, if I am trusting what she's doing, I can come along. But one thing I'd like to point out, there is the problem of two so-called percussion instruments, because pianos, there tends to be a great difficulty to be exactly together on two pianos, because the point of attack or the beginning of the tone is so precise. And it's, if you're playing with strings or something, you have some leeway with that. But pianos are specifically difficult to coordinate. But again, it's a matter of that trust and listening to each other and the dialogue that happens, that develops.
Yeah, between the two of you. And also you are again describing, excuse me here, I got a little itch, but this business of how you play so well together. So I guess my question is, we're starting to run out of time. I might as well throw it out there. I believe it's criminal for you not to consider a second CD together. I believe you should begin working immediately on it.
Okay.
That's my recommendation. See to it. But have you, let's not forget, and let's remind everybody, to put together a CD is not Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland saying, let's have a show in the backyard. It is long, hard process, let alone being together at some point or points to put it together. So we all accept the challenge. But I think, I don't know if you have or not, you're both busy going in different directions, but I think you should really consider, and it's, if you haven't already, speak to that so I can shut up here for a minute. Speak to it. Is it in the conversation, or are you going to get together for dinner sometime and talk it over? I put you on the spot?
I'm all for the idea, of course. We need to coordinate our lives a bit and discuss what the possibilities are for that. But I would definitely like to do some more performances, and that's what tends to lead to a successful recording, because you need to have experience on stage together with the music that you're recording.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, we've talked about my role. By the way, everybody, I'm going to put up this interview and links to purchase the CD, all that stuff, videos and tapes and everything I can find, JPEGs and everything else to make your dedicated page at performingartsreview.net as entertaining as it can be. And I've told people that what I'm noticing is people really like to watch these video interviews. And so that really draws the crowd. They're not really reading much anymore. So I'm not cutting out, but I'm cutting down a bit on the length of reviews, which makes sense in this day and age. But my job is not really to help you sell more CDs. My job is to present your calling card, the CD, to a whole lot of other colleagues out there one or two of whom might say, "Hey, come on out to whatever. Name me a state. Come on out to Michigan. Do a workshop, something like that. Either independently, of course, because you're both independent pianists, but as a duo, perhaps even. So that's how I see my role. Is just trying to get the punch out there again. And again, this is a CD. What drives me crazy, I've mentioned it on several occasions, is people, even artists, seem to think, well, I've done a CD. It's in 2016. It's now going on 2019. That CD can't be of any possible use whatsoever. Put it in the closet and forget it. It's craziness. Once these, with all the blood, sweat, and tears involved, to create a perfection, which in this case, this particular piano duo CD is just really a piece of pure perfection. People will be listening and enjoying to it for years to come. That's kind of also what I see as my job these days, is to remind people it's. I use the analogy of Melville and Moby Dick. I mean, he wrote it in 1848 or something, and it was just as good in 1878 a read, or 1978 if it was that. So, anyway, that's my editorial comment for the moment. What have I forgotten to mention or discuss? We've had a little overview of the music on this CD. We've talked about your getting together and all that. Anything that you're burning to speak to? Who wants to go first? Timothy, you look like you're burning to say something. Say something.
Actually, Yuchi, do you have any thoughts? I'm not sure.
He's a blank. It's your turn, Yuchi.
Yes.
No, please.
As Tim said, I think, of course, I would like to continue this duo. And since now he lives in Illinois and I live in California, but we still wanted to keep this duo, and we have the opportunity to do this performance tour. So I hope we're gonna have second CD comes out, and then I'm gonna of course look forward to our performance concerts in the future.
And just briefly, just to kind of wind it down, Timothy, what is a day in the life at Urbana-Champaign? What is a day in the life of the chair of the piano division?
Well,
that didn't start well.
No, I mean,
face.
The reason I'm kind of chuckling is that this is the last, the final push through to the end of the semester has begun. So it's about a week or two until the end of the semester. Right. So this week, for example, a lot of the students are playing recitals, and I attend each of them as the chair of the division. So almost every night this week I'll be hearing a recital. In fact, there's one in about a half an hour that I'll listen to. I generally teach in the afternoons and take care of personal matters and administrative things in the morning, emailing or whatever, writing letters of recommendation, talking to whomever, meetings, faculty meetings, but it's pretty full.
It sounds. Yuchi, what's life in? You're in San Jose area, are you? What are you up to out there?
Right, I relocated to San Jose because of my family. 2 years ago, I had a girl, so I needed to resign my faculty position at Texas. So currently, I direct a private studio at home, and then meanwhile, I also keep performing as a solo recital around this area in the Bay Area, and meanwhile I'm taking care of my little daughter. So that is what Timothy said about we needed to take care of the life differently. Yes. But once my daughter grew up a little bit, then I think we're gonna have more chance to do more performance in the future.
Yeah,
exactly.
Makes sense. And life is busy, and then this Kepl comes in and says, "Oh, why don't you do another CD?" It's like you can snap your fingers and it happens overnight, Listen, Yuchi Tai, Timothy Ehlen, the Ehlen Tai piano duo. What a great pleasure to have a chance to talk to you about your CD, 2006 CD. Azika, I think, is the name of the company. All this will be up at performingartsreview.net. Virtuosic Dance, just a real treat to hear this CD and to be able to make some comments about it. Rachmaninoff is Suite Number 2 for 2 pianos. Ravel, La Valse for 2 pianos, his own arrangement. Manuel Infante, Danse Andalouse, Lodoslavsky, Darius Milhaud, Scaramouche. It's a beauty of a CD, and I congratulate you on it, and I hope we can get a little interest in both of you and the CD as well. That's it, I think. Thanks much for giving me some time.
Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you.
Okay.
Pleasure talking with you.
Bye-bye.